Oh, Kings and Generals. 2 hours ago. Oh, perfect. I remember, man, I thought about this today. Today I thought about this. When the Ukraine war started in February, on that day, I was streaming live on Twitch and reacted to the Ukraine war. I had one of the biggest view counts ever. I was being watched so much, and I sometimes think I could have just streamed Ukraine content for weeks, and I would have gotten 5K viewers every single day. And I always think about that. Like, I'm okay I didn't do it. I want to be a gamer, not a reactor. And that was so interesting, though.
The invasion of Ukraine continues. The information space related to the war in Ukraine has been dominated by the Pentagon leaks in the first half of April, at a time when the Russian offensive is fading out without much to show for it. While Ukrainians are preparing, but sending mixed messages about their counteroffensive.
That matter, I'm not really that much into reaction.
Of Ukraine.
I'd rather have 700 viewers on Age of Wonders than 5K on reacting to Ukraine.
Covering the first half
and I'm
of
okay
April,
with that.
As Wagner mercenaries continued advancing inside the city. By April 2nd, they
holding
took
these flanks
control
must be
of
so
the city's
crucial, man.
destroyed administration building. By April 14th, Wagner reached the main train station of Bakhmut. As of April 15th, Russia controls some 80% of all Bakhmut, as the Ukrainian defenders have been pushed out towards the city's west. To the north of Bakhmut, the 106th Air Assault Division expanded Russian country MO3 highway towards Orakovo-Vasilivka. This proves the claim of Prigozhin that the sole focus of Wagner in the Bakhmut section is the city itself, while the regular Russian
How does
army
Wagner...
units, including its
they're
airborne
losing so many
forces,
people. How does Wagner keep up their man count, man? They must be getting so many recruits in the whole time.
have
You're
been
losing
deployed
so
to
many people,
solidify the
bro.
flanks around the city as a
don't get
potential
flanked.
insurance against the Ukrainian counteroffensive. On April 5th, Zelensky stated
Prisoners
that
and
the Ukrainian
Serbians.
defenders would be ordered
Lots
to
of
withdraw
prisoners.
from the city
Fucking
if there was a
crazy
risk
shit.
of their
Think about that,
encirclement.
right?
According to the Pentagon leaks,
Prisoners.
which we will
It's
discuss
like a
in
movie,
detail
bro.
in the future,
It's like
this
Dog
almost
Tide.
happened on February 25th. The chief of the Ukrainian military intelligence, Kirilo Budinov, assessed the Ukrainian situation in Bakhmut as catastrophic, as Russian forces were closing in on the TO504 highway, the only supply line controlled by the Ukrainian army. It seems like the Ukrainians have been able to
Well, they're
push the
gonna
Russian
draft
army
Grisha when he's
slightly
18.
away from the TO504 highway to stabilize the situation, but this supply line still remains under fire control of the Russian army. In comparison with Bakhmut, the Russian advance around Avdiivka has been negligible. The 114th Motorized Brigade's capture of Novobakhmutivka, north of Avdiivka, was confirmed in this period. By April 9th, they advanced westward.
It's looking very negative right now. I don't like it. I don't like the negativeness. It's like you start losing HOI4 and you feel like, fuck, that's not good.
Conducted a minor
It's not good.
counteroffensive on April 5th and liberated areas northwest of Novoselivka.
I like how he's using
Some
these communist
criticism
blocks
by the
to show a
Russian
city,
military
because it's so
bloggers
real.
Of the usual human wave tactics, or meat assaults as they are calling them, used
Meat
by the
assaults,
Russian army,
Alter.
now
Isn't
in
that
Avdiivka.
fucked up?
But that is not news at this point. The Russian army has also achieved minor progress on the North Luhansk front. On April 5th, the Russians gained some ground towards Torska. On April 7th, the 144th Motorized Division recaptured several positions between Novoselivska and Kuzymivka. On April 14th,
So excuse me, how does he know all
Ukrainian
this?
81st
How is that all public knowledge? I think that's always so crazy. It's probably satellite images or some shit.
Airmobile Brigade lost some.
But if you're America and your satellites give you the info, why does the public have that info? I always wonder about that. How does a fucking YouTuber have that info? Telegram accounts.
Russia has been attacking
Telegram
on the North
accounts.
Luhansk front
The
since
fuck?
February. But despite minor
It's
gains,
confirmed via
they have
Telegram.
not reached any of their
Military
objectives,
bloggers.
including capturing Liman and destroying the Ukrainian bridgehead on the eastern bank of the River Oskil. Not being able to turn around the situation on the battlefield during this offensive, while losing more of its offensive potential, will be a major problem for Russia. To the point that Russia, which has long been perceived to have an unending reserve of tanks, has started deploying the Stalin-era T-54-55 tanks, along with losing more men. The Russian government is currently enacting measures to ensure a continuous flow of cannon fodder to the battle.
I love this YouTuber. The way he uses speech, he says cannon fodder. He's not being neutral here. He is using anti-Russian rhetoric, which I support fully.
Field in Ukraine. Head of the prisoners' rights organization, Russia Behind Bars, Olga Romanova, claimed on April 8th that the Russian army is signing 18-month contracts with inmates willing to join the army.
Damn.
On April 11th,
shared that
the
information?
Russian Duma adopted a law to increase the effectiveness of the military draft. According to this new legislation,
This is all symbols that
the
Russia
draft
is getting
summons
weaker.
will now be sent digitally.
Digital draft summons. Digital draft summons. You look on your fucking phone, man. Oh, League of Legends new update. TommyKay's live. Wait, I'm being drafted? Oh, I lost my phone. Sorry.
All eligible people will be included in the digital register.
Oh, shit.
Summoned citizens
I hope
are
Grisha's
banned
getting
from
ready.
leaving the country. Failure to report to military conscription offices within 20 days of a summon.
Imagine it happening to you in
leads
real
the
life, man. That must be so
cancellation of
scary.
driver's license,
Imagine how you feel
blocking
about
of
this.
bank accounts, loss of
I remember when I got my letter, I have to go to the army for 9 months. I fucking hated that
state
shit.
benefits and other problems, including losing property rights. This may indicate
Thank
that
you, Balls of
Putin
Glory.
is preparing for
Dude, this is
another
a
round of
legit...
mobilization.
Dude, this is straight up fucking fascist shit, man.
Realistically speaking, mobilization is the only major tool of escalation that Putin still possesses, outside of the use of tactical nukes, which is extremely unlikely. While the ongoing Russian offensive
It's literally
indicates
HOI4.
that
In a way it
poorly
is, right?
trained Mobics are not an effective offensive force, they can still be useful for defensive action if the Russian command accepts.
He's going for
Prigozhin's
another
advice.
law,
The Wagner
right?
chief says,
Conscription law.
the ideal option is to announce the completion of the special military operation and tell everyone that Russia has reached the results it had planned for. Prigozhin suggested focusing on solidifying and defending Russian gains instead of seeking to capture new lands. He is the first
He seems intelligent, though.
prominent member of the Russian elite who spoke out in favor of wrapping up the war. China's military support to Russia might have been a game changer for Russian chances of success in Ukraine. But at this point, this looks increasingly
I like that. That's so interesting. Why is China not helping Russia? Because China isn't stupid. China is also dependent on the West. The West is building everything. Look at everything you own. It's all made in China, man. China knows two things. Number one, they need the West like we need China. We all need each other. And number two, China is very intelligent. China knows they can't do a big thing. They can't just invade Taiwan. No. What China is doing is the small things, always something small, to not make the US too mad. Always something small, step by step. China is a bit more intelligent there than Mr. Putin.
On April 5th, the Chinese ambassador to the EU, Fu Song, called the no-limits status of the Russo-Chinese relations a purely rhetorical statement, and declared that China does not recognize either Crimea or other annexed territories of Ukraine as part of
Giga
Russia.
chat from China, but
On
they have an
April
agenda
14th,
behind this.
Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang stated that China would not supply Russia with weapons. This contradicts the recent information about the Chinese delivery of rifles to Russia.
Oh,
But rifles
they're
are
lying?
not jets,
What?
missiles, drones, or tanks, and Ukraine can probably breathe easier about the potential military support of China to Russia in this war for the time being. Along with that, as we have earlier reported, the pace of missile and drone strikes by Russia on the Ukrainian civilian infrastructure has decreased dramatically.
They're literally bombing civilians, man, the whole time, man.
On April 4th, Russia launched 17 Shahed drones on Odessa and Mykolaiv oblasts, 14 of which were shot down by the Ukrainian air defenses.
Nice.
Russia launched 7 S-300 air defense missiles on Slovyansk on April 15th, which killed at least 11 civilians. Ukraine still does not have an answer to S-300 missiles used in this unconventional manner. But the good news for Ukraine is that Russia does not launch its cruise missiles on its energy infrastructure.
Yesterday, a
as much
supermarket
anymore.
in Kherson was bombed.
While in October, Russia launched cruise missiles on 7 different
China
occasions.
didn't read the rules. They can't lend these Russia. Call the
And in
host.
December, on 6 different occasions, this has decreased to just 1 attack in March.
Oh, wow.
There have been no cruise missile attacks on Ukraine in April as of
bitch,
April
you out of
16th.
fucking endurance,
As a
man.
result, Ukraine has been able to restart the export of its
And also, they're
surplus
using AA missiles on ground
The
targets,
Russian
yeah.
economy continued experiencing significant problems in this period. The Russian Ministry of Finance's
I love when these videos are anti-Russian. That makes me kind of horny, man.
figures from the first
Like my
quarter of
balls kinda drop.
2023 show 2.4 trillion rubles of budget deficit. At this rate, Russia may
Thank you,
expect
Husledon.
9.5 to 10 trillion rubles of budget deficit for 2023. Oil and gas revenues have decreased by 45% due to dropping prices and the loss of the European energy market. Budget expenditure has increased by 34%, or
Oh,
8
this
trillion
is going on
rubles,
like oil, man.
a third of which is related to secret articles. This probably means war-related expenses. Since June
Secret
of 2022,
articles.
the ruble has lost about 35% of its value. The Russian government will have to find ways to reverse this trend if it intends to continue fighting in Ukraine without risking an economic collapse. The opposition towards Putin amongst the Russian nationalist circles is brewing too. On April 1st, a group led by the former separatist DPR commander and FSB colonel Igor Girkin, who was found guilty of the 2014 downing of the MH17 airplane, created the Club of Angry Patriots. They have stated that their goal is to prevent the Russian defeat in the war in Ukraine. In recent years,
it's like in a video. It's just straight up a video game. You're unsuccessful, so you start getting factions, like in Crusader Kings 3.
Particularly after the start of the war, the Putin
regime
has
1st.
strongly cracked down on liberal and leftist opposition in Russia, while the nationalist circles enjoyed relative immunity. It will be interesting to see whether the nationalist opposition to Putin leads to anything meaningful. Another bit of interesting news from Russia was the assassination of the prominent Russian military blogger Maxim Fomin, also known as Vladlen Tatarsky. He is mostly known for his "we will defeat everyone, we will kill everyone, we will rob everyone we need, everything will be as we like" quote he said during the celebration. Tatarsky was killed in an explosion during an event he hosted in St. Petersburg in a cafe. The Russian government has already blamed Ukraine and the beleaguered Russian opposition without any evidence. Russia plans to evacuate those willing to leave Zaporizhia and Kherson oblasts. They are also building fortifications along the front.
Grisha was actually there? He was actually there. Oh yes, that was that picture. Grisha was there in that coffee. I love how these experts talk about Russian economic collapse after sanctions, but West still buying all resources from Russia and therefore sponsoring Russian war in Ukraine. Yeah, it's a fucking disgrace what the West is doing. But it's a very complex question. If you do not get Russian gas and oil, you will raise the gas and oil price in your country, which makes all the boomers mad and they don't vote for you anymore. It's a very complex topic. We shouldn't have gotten addicted to Russian gas and oil in the first place, and in Germany, that is the fault of the CDU. You should never ever vote for as a German.
Particularly in the Zaporizhia Oblast. Satellite images show a 70-kilometer long trench there.
Oh.
The Ukrainian army officials claim
That's a long
that Russia
trench.
has 113 battalion tactical groups in the Zaporizhia Oblast.
He walked out a few minutes before the explosion and even read on Twitter that his mom and him were injured. Not confirmed though. What is happening here?
Which means there are at least 56,000 and possibly as many as 113,000 Russian soldiers to defend this area. The fact that Ukraine has made several HIMARS strikes on the Russian military infrastructure in Melitopol, according to Ukrainian officials, the Ukrainian army has already created 8 brigades of the Assault Guard to participate in this counter-offensive. These Assault Guards
that's brand new stuff. That's the new guys.
will assist regular units of the Ukrainian army, which is going to employ 200 to 400,000 troops in this counter-offensive, according to Prigozhin. On April 4th, the Ukrainian Deputy Prime Minister Vereshchuk called on the Ukrainians living in the occupied territories to leave as soon as possible. So there has been a lot of evidence that the Ukrainian army is on the brink of counterattacking, but it looks like the rainy weather in this period has delayed them. There may be some other causes of delay of the Ukrainian counteroffensive, like waiting for the delivery of pledged tanks and armored vehicles, or perhaps the Pentagon leaks, which we will discuss in a second.
Dude, that 21-year-old fuck might have fucked with that offense. Isn't the world completely mental? A 20-year-old troll on the internet on a Minecraft Discord might have fucked with this offensive. And the second guy to share it had my profile picture. How is this real?
Budanov has assured that the Pentagon leaks will not impact the counter-offensive, and that the result of the Ukrainian action will be seen very soon. On the contrary, Prime Minister Shmyhal stated that Ukraine would be able
Yes, the second guy to leak on the Minecraft server had me as a profile picture. It's a true story. You can Google this.
to launch its counter-offensive in the summer. The
TommyKay is massively involved in this war right now.
contradictory messages of the Ukrainian officials about the timing of the
I need vacation so bad, bro.
may be a
In 2 months, I'm going
attempt
to Paris.
confuse the Russian army, or may signal a lack of consensus at this time. We shall see.
Lisa
Meanwhile,
needs me to
weapon
stop here
supplies are being
soon.
delivered
Thank
to
you, Potter.
Ukraine as we
Thank you,
speak,
Ramalama Ding
and the
Dong.
Allies
Thank
have
you.
made more pledges in this period. On April 1st, Polish Prime Minister Morawiecki announced that Ukraine ordered 100 Rosomak infantry fighting vehicles from Poland. Later, Ukrainian President Zelensky informed that Ukraine would get 100 Rosomaks immediately and 100 more later. It will be paid for from the joint fund created for the needs of Ukraine. In this period, Poland also delivered 8
It's clever for Poland to
jets,
support this, right?
along with
Because
pledging
Russia
6
also
more.
is a
On
Polish
April
enemy.
6th, the Ukrainian military industry giant Ukroboronprom stated that they are starting the production of 125mm tank rounds with a Polish weapons
At least
producer.
Poland is being a real fucking
They
ally,
will also
man.
cooperate
Not like
to
Germany.
maintain a maintenance service for T-64 tanks. On April 3rd, it was reported that Denmark and Norway had made an agreement to send 8,000 artillery shells to Ukraine, while the Netherlands pledged 270 million euros of support, mostly for humanitarian and non-military purposes. On the following day, the US announced another military aid package to Ukraine worth $2.6 billion. It included munitions for Patriots and NASAMS, ammunition for HIMARS, artillery shells, mortar rounds, TOW missiles, and more.
And just my point, some Americans on Twitter, they're like, oh, why are we supporting Ukraine? We should build our own schools. You should be proud of this. You should be proud of this. America has become a rotten state in the last decades, man. And here America is defending the right nation against a fascist state as Russia. As an American, you should be proud of this shit, man, in my opinion. At least your tax money actually goes somewhere now.
Is the CUAS laser-guided rocket systems, which the United States is sending to help Ukraine get a cheaper solution against Shahed drones. The Pentagon also announced on April 5th that it had
US giving up healthcare and education for Ukraine. I mean, they gave that up before Ukraine too, come on.
signed a contract to manufacture M1A1 Abrams tanks for
Detroit
Ukraine.
could use these artillery shells.
On April 6th, it was reported that Germany delivered an engineering vehicle, 8
Whoa, we sent 1 tank! A Dax! Whoa! And 8 trucks! 8 trucks! My uncle owns more trucks!
Cross trucks, 6 recon UAVs,
Oh,
and rounds
fucking
for
Germany.
automatic grenade launchers. Czechia also pledged 30
Come on,
million
Germany,
euros
man.
worth of military aid to Ukraine.
Come on, Germany!
Well,
I mean, the problem is we have nothing else. We only have beer in our military. Mental illness and beer. That's what our military is about.
Denmark
We don't have much
promised
more.
100 Leopard 185
There it is.
tanks.
That is what we need. 100 Leopard. That is the fucking shit.
On April 12th,
These tanks are fucking
Spain
mad, bro.
confirmed its intention to deliver 6 Leopard
Dude, this is totally HOI4. Everybody's just lend-leasing Ukraine.
2 tanks.
Because
and
Tommy's
20
playing Russia. I know we gotta fuck up the
carriers
streamer.
by the end of April. In this period, we witnessed several curious diplomatic developments.
After this,
Let
I need to
us
go.
reiterate that
I need to
Ukraine
go,
and
guys.
Russia do not appear
We're
any
watching
closer
this
to
one.
substantial negotiations at this point. But for the first time in a
Thank you, Germany, for giving 100% of their functional tanks.
while, a top advisor to Zelensky informed the media that Ukraine is open to a diplomatic discussion about
Dude, I could literally react all day. I would easily get 2k viewers. It's kind of crazy to me, man. People love these reaction streams, man.
Crimea.
I want to involve them more to the stream.
if they
We'll
reach
see.
the peninsula's
see.
administrative borders and achieve their other strategic objectives on the battlefield. This may be the
No negotiations until they reach Crimean border. I will agree with that.
first signal of interest of Ukraine in diplomatic talks.
Leopard 1A5 is old and crappy. You're fucking... That is super wrong, Stefan. We watched the video. That is super wrong. That is big fake news. Leopard 1A5, they're pretty old and crappy compared to T-72s. Please go to TommyKayVIBE and watch the reaction to the T-72s. That is mega fake news.
Since April 2022, but it contradicts Defense Minister Reznikov's statement of April 9th that Ukraine will only hold talks with the next leader of Russia.
Ah, that's Giga Chat, bro. I like that. I'm so pro fucking Ukraine, man. I want to actually buy one of these black sweatshirts, man.
has been
Where do
said
I buy
before
them?
by Zelensky.
I also have a question to you guys after this. I need your help with
Like
something,
the
chat.
general attitude towards
totally
negotiations
forgot.
with Russia
That's
remains
Giga Chat. This
unchanged.
is like, oh, a roleplay game. Tommy, you should give up. Fuck you. Never.
Another notable diplomatic event was French President Macron's visit to China, where he held
Also, the
talks
German
with Xi Jinping.
foreign minister was in China.
We're not going to talk about Macron's statements about Europe's autonomy vis-à-vis the United States, since this is not our topic. We will stick to the war in Ukraine, regarding which both
Atlantis
leaders
playing
made
Putin.
important statements.
Well, with the red tactics,
Xi
make a lot of
Jinping
sense.
talked about the inadmissibility
Send me a
of
link for the
using
shirt.
nuclear weapons, and China's
Show me a link in
interest
Discord.
political
Show me in
solution to the
Discord.
war, while Macron called on Xi to bring Russia to its senses. This meeting demonstrates that China intends to continue on the path of a neutral actor with regard to the war in Ukraine, while France seeks to act as an
UAShort.com.
independent
There's
player
actually a website for
and
that?
not just another member of the Western coalition. Now
Where's the
let's talk
Zelensky?
about
Where's the fucking sweatshirt?
Throughout April, several images
Where's the
claimed
black
to be
sweatshirt?
classified documents from the Pentagon were leaked. Most
This
of
one in
them
black.
were
I need
about
this
the
one in
war
black.
Ukraine. We will have a video specifically
I'll check
dedicated
it off
to
soon.
the Pentagon.
I need to go, guys. I need to leave. Lisa is waiting for cooking. What are you still doing here, mate? Jeez. Well, if you want to see more, click these videos. Have fun. Looking good, boy.